Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff unveils surprising truth about US Open triumph amid rising French Open hopes. Red clay is honestly something that I grew up on, something I've been playing on since I was 10 years old. Coco Gauff shared in an exclusive with Olympics.com last year, her voice filled with genuine admiration for the surface. And rightly so. Red clay has been the stage for many of her firsts. Her first junior Grand Slam title, her first major quarterfinal, her first final. It's where her confidence bloomed. Yet it was far from the red clay where she claimed her biggest triumph. Her maiden Grand Slam title came on the hard courts of America in 2023. A shock. For fans, no. For Coco, absolutely. World, no. Coco Gauff battled through a tense second set to defeat Czech Marie Bouzkova 6-1, 7-6-3 on Saturday, securing her spot in the French Open last 16. This win marked a significant milestone for Gauff. It was her first victory over Bouzkova, having lost both their previous encounters. Despite the shaky moments, Gauff has yet to drop a set at Roland Garros this year. While the rivalry with Bouzkova hasn't been lengthy, it hadn't previously favored the 21-year-old American. But this time, Gauff broke through with poise and determination, and as fans revel in her dazzling clay court form, she delivered a bold, heartfelt tribute to the surface she grew up loving. Speaking on the TNT broadcast with Bleacher Report, after her third-round Roland Garros win, Coco Gauff made a candid and surprising admission. Despite her breakthrough triumph at the 2023 US Open, she revealed that her first GS victory didn't come where she had expected. "I always thought that at first when I was younger. I thought it was hard just being American. And then I always thought that for some reason my first slam would be on clay. So that US Open was very low-key a shock to me too. So I would say I definitely think clay is my best surface," she said, her voice echoing deep admiration for the red dirt. But make no mistake, her US Open glory was anything but easy. At just 19, Gauff captured her first major title in front of a roaring home crowd, at the very tournament she once attended as a wide-eyed kid with her parents, watching her idols, the iconic Serena and Venus Williams. After a rocky start in the final, she roared back to defeat Aryna Sabalenka 2-6, 6-3, 6-2, becoming the first American teenager since Serena in 1999 to win the country's most prestigious tournament. "Thank you to the people who didn't believe in me. Like a month ago, I won a tour title and people said I would stop at that. 2 weeks ago, I won a tour title and people were saying that was the biggest it was going to get. So 3 weeks later, I'm here with this trophy right now," she said after lifting the trophy, silencing doubters with poise and power, and making her name known to the world. Now with her dominant clay court form in the French Open and a deep-rooted connection to the surface, fans are daring to dream once again. Could 2025 be the year Gauff's clay court prophecy fulfills itself? The signs say yes. The former US Open winner came out blazing in her third-round French Open match on Saturday, taking control early by winning 12 of the first 15 points and building a 3-0 lead in just 10 minutes. She wrapped up the first set in just 30 minutes with commanding precision. However, the second set turned out to be a test of endurance and nerve, lasting 75 minutes, all the while pushing Gauff to the edge. At a critical moment, Gauff trailed 5-3, 30-love on Marie Bouzkova's serve. Bouzkova had 4 chances to win 2 consecutive points and force a deciding third set, but Gauff dug in. Using her incredible court coverage, the American extended rallies and pounced on every small opportunity. An unforgettable exchange was when she chased down a drop shot, but quickly recovered for a volley block and finished spectacularly with a leaping overhead smash. The illustration was one of grit and athleticism. By the set's end, Gauff recorded 22 winners to her opponent's 11 and dominated the net, claiming 11 of 14 net points. And right after the win, she credited her serving approach for shaping the match. "I served a bit more aggressive in the first set, so I was holding easier, and maybe got a little bit too passive on the serve in the second, and it allowed her to get back into the match," Gauff said. "Just keeping the aggressive mindset is something that I can do better for the next match." Looking ahead, Gauff is set to face 20th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova on Monday. A win will take her into the QF. Could this finally be the year she lifts above her head the beloved Roland Garros trophy? What do you think? The sun dipped low over Paris, casting a golden hue across the red clay courts of Roland Garros. The sound of tennis balls echoing from practice courts filled the spring air. But inside a quiet press room, Coco Gauff sat poised, not just as a rising star of the sport, but as a young woman on the verge of a new revelation. She leaned forward, eyes bright with determination, as journalists gathered, anticipating the usual pre-tournament soundbites. Instead, Gauff offered something unexpected. "I think it's time I shared something real about the US Open," she said, her voice calm but charged. It wasn't just a tennis win. It was a test. The room hushed. Last September, the world watched in awe as a then 19-year-old Gauff captured her first Grand Slam title at the 2024 US Open. Her electric run to the trophy had ignited headlines. America's new queen of the court, Gauff era begins, and Coco's moment. But as she sat under the fluorescent lights in Paris, preparing for the French Open, a tournament that had always felt closest to her heart, Coco was ready to lift the curtain on what that moment had truly meant. The breaking point. "It's funny," she began. "People think of that win as the peak of my confidence. But truthfully, I almost didn't play." The revelation struck like a forehand winner down a line. Gauff explained that in the weeks leading up to the US Open, she'd been grappling with something bigger than any opponent: burnout. Everyone saw the highlight reels, the smiles, the dancing on court. But what they didn't see were the mornings I couldn't get out of bed, or the nights I questioned if I even loved the game anymore. It was the relentless pressure, the burden of expectation, the noise from fans and critics alike. Even her breathtaking run to the 2022 French Open final, and the near miss at Wimbledon in 2023, hadn't prepared her for the emotional toll of becoming the face of the sport in the post-Serena era. And then, there was social media, both a platform and a prison. I used to check my DMs after matches, win or lose. Some of the messages were encouraging, but others, man, they could cut you deep. She took a breath. After a loss in Montreal, I remember sitting alone in the locker room and thinking, if I feel like this now, how am I supposed to survive New York? A letter in her bag. What turned it around? It wasn't a coach. It wasn't a new forehand technique. It was a letter. Before the US Open, my grandmother gave me this envelope. It was handwritten, sealed. She told me not to open it unless I was ready to quit, Gauff said, smiling softly. I kept it in my tennis bag the whole tournament. She never opened it. Every match, every moment I felt like giving in, I'd reach for it, just touch it. And somehow, that reminded me of who I was playing for. The letter became her talisman, a symbol of resilience. In the third round, I cramped so badly I thought I'd retire mid-match. But I looked at my bag. I saw the envelope, and I told myself, not today. When she finally lifted the trophy under the electric lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium, she did so not as a girl who had won a match, but as one who had overcome herself. I still haven't read the letter, she confessed. Maybe one day, but for now, just knowing it's there is enough. The Parisian promise. Now, 9 months later, Gauff stands on the cusp of another possible triumph, this time on the clay of Roland Garros. But something has changed. I'm not chasing ghosts anymore. I'm not trying to prove I belong. I know I do. Her eyes lit up when asked about her love for Paris. This place was where I made my first Grand Slam final. I was 18. I got destroyed by Iga Swiatek. She laughed, but it lit something in me. I wanted to come back. Stronger. Wiser. And she has. Coming off a stellar clay season, winning in Rome, and reaching the finals in Madrid, Gauff has honed a new dimension to her game. A sharpened backhand slice, more controlled aggression, and above all, patience. Clay teaches you to suffer. It's not about blasting winners. It's about constructing, surviving, adapting. That mindset, she admitted, came not from a strategy session, but from a moment on a rainy practice day in Stuttgart. I was drenched, frustrated, ready to quit for the day, and then I saw a little girl, maybe 7, waiting outside the fence, just watching. In the rain, she had a sign that said, "Play like Coco." Gauff smiled. I couldn't leave after that. She reminded me why I started.